Hey, hello. Welcome to episode number 27 of the People We Love podcast. I am Adam Choit. And let's get right to it. This week's something or someone that I love is hot water. It's good for showers, washing your hands, soaking your feet, lots of stuff. And I'm not talking about water in general. This is about hot water. Maybe I just like hot showers, but anyway, let's move on. Real quickly, the website is peoplewelovepodcast.com. That's peoplewelovepodcast.com. Everything you need is on there. Please tap subscribe or follow on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. 5-star reviews on iTunes are helpful, of course. And there's a private Facebook group, the People We Love Podcast group. And I also added a Google Podcast button to the website. So if you listen to podcasts on Google Podcasts, there's a link right there on the website to that as well. But that's enough plugs and all that. Let's just get to it. So today's guest is actor, singer-songwriter, performer, and former cosmetologist Brittany Rizzo. Originally from Las Vegas, Nevada, she decided to move to Los Angeles after booking her first role on Disney's Wizards of Waverly Place. Sharing an equal love for acting as she does music, she tells me the whole crazy story of landing a role singing alongside Justin Timberlake in a national Target commercial. You definitely don't want to miss that story, which is pretty nuts. But yeah, we talk acting, music, the struggles, the successes. Brittany even shares some music with us. And of course, we talk all things Justin Timberlake. And just a heads up, in the middle of this, there is a slight but yes, an audible car horn alarm sound in the background for about 25 to 30 seconds. It's not super loud, and you will survive it. Anyway, here's Brittany Rizzo. So it's good to see you today, Brittany Rizzo.
It's good to see you too.
Thank you for stopping by the studio. I appreciate it.
We're neighbors.
We are, not too far. What you been up to today?
Today I went and got my nails done, but that's about it.
Let me see.
Most people love getting their nails done, but I hate sitting still. So I was sitting there counting the tiles on the ceiling because my heart was racing, not being able to move.
This thing gives you anxiety.
Yeah, so it gives me anxiety to sit still and have to get anything done. It drives me crazy.
But you feel like you just needed to get your nails done. What color is it? That's off white. That's white. That's
it's
blue.
A blue white.
Blue white.
Yeah.
What inspired that color? Hard hitting questions.
Well, it's nothing goes unplanned for me.
Right, I see.
So I know that we were going to talk about Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
And Justin Timberlake's favorite color is baby blue.
Oh, man. You had some time on your hands this morning. I could tell.
It's my day off.
You deserve it. You deserve it.
Exactly.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, your life, where you grew up? Start from birth.
Ooh.
Last week's guest did start from birth
Really?
and leaving the hospital, so there's a lot of.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you could tell me whatever you want to share.
Well,
We'll go from there.
I'm from Las Vegas. I've lived out here a little over 8 years. I wasn't ever one of those people who's I don't know the date I moved out because I just wanted to get out of Las Vegas so badly that I didn't even care what day it was. But I'm from Las Vegas and I've lived here for a little over 8 years. I love living in the Valley, and I think the Valley gets a bad rep, but I love it.
Other people don't live here.
Yeah.
Only the people who live here are allowed to make fun of it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We'll go with that.
Yeah. And I just kind of came out here on a whim. I originally I went to cosmetology school when I got out of high school. I just wanted out of high school. So the deal was I had to, if I wanted to leave high school early, I was going to go to a trade school or college. And I had no interest in going to college whatsoever. So I chose cosmetology school. And then 6 months through that, I was I don't even want to do this anymore. But I don't think I ever really knew that singing or acting could be a job. Basically, I didn't know. I just did it.
Even in growing up in Vegas, where
it's weird.
Because they're just celebrities, and it just seems so
it just feels so far away. It's not. It's another reality almost when you're younger. But I grew up singing the national anthem at a lot of places, and it was just fun for me. And I always just wanted to do something that was fun, and I didn't realize you can have fun doing something for work at the same time.
Who knew?
Right?
It's possible. Most people don't have that luxury, but some do.
That's very true. If you can make a living doing what you love, then you hit the lottery. But so yeah, I decided that I was going to give the whole acting thing a try when I was like 19. I was living in Las Vegas and I was assisting somebody in a hair salon. And I got a call from Central Casting that was like, hey, we want to book you for Wizards of Waverly Place. And I was like, cool. Like, and I was obsessed with Disney Channel growing up.
That's a Disney show?
Yeah, so it was Selena Gomez. And then I was obsessed with Disney Channel growing up. And I was like, okay, awesome. So I went and I did this episode and they bumped me up to a day player. And I was just
awesome.
like, yeah, like that is so rare. And so I was just so excited, and like growing up watching it and then being there, like you're like, oh my gosh, I'm here. Like it's just so weird to think about. And then so I just like 1 week on set there, I was like, this is what I want to do the rest of my life. Like, and it was just so like the energy and the people and doing a live studio audience. Like for my first job, it was just the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. So I would literally go film and then drive back to Las Vegas and then go to work the next day. Like all within
the cosmetology work?
So all within like 24 to 48 hours.
You would go back and forth from LA to Vegas for how many times a week? Every day?
It was just once a week.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you were going back every...
Yeah, I was going back quite a bit.
That's like a 4-hour drive.
Yeah.
More,
Yeah.
4 to 6 with traffic. Yeah.
So then there was one night where it was like a live studio audience, and then I drove home that night. The next morning, I sang the national anthem at my dad's a firefighter in Las Vegas, so it was a lot of... The events that I sang were a lot of stuff for the city and things like that. So I sang like the national anthem that morning, and then I went into the salon and I fell asleep at work, and I got a text from my boss. She's like, I think we're gonna part ways. And I was like,
oh man.
But you know what? It was totally fine.
The best thing was what you knew.
It really was. It was the best thing that could have happened, because it pushed me to be like, okay, like this is actually what I really want to do. Because I was the kid growing up that was like, I want to do tap, I want to do gymnastics, I want to do basketball camp, I want to do sea camp. Like I did everything.
You went through phases, but
I never wanted to stick to anything. Yeah.
Well, you tried different things.
That's true.
Kids get a bad rap for that, I think. It's, kids are just going through phases and that. No, you're just trying different things. No, why can't when adults do that, it's like, I'm just trying different things. But when a kid does it, it's like, kids are fickle or whatever.
Right. Yeah, but the second something didn't become fun to me anymore, I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So like
that's human nature, I guess, to some degree.
I know, right? I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Or if I figured out I could do it and I wasn't crazy about it, I never stuck to it.
Yeah.
The one thing I wish I stuck to was piano, because I would love to know how to play piano.
No, you still can.
I know.
There's still time for you.
I know.
Let's go back a little bit. I want to hear more about growing up in Vegas and what that's like. Because you don't meet anyone. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't meet too many people from Vegas. Some, not that I've had deep conversations with them about it, but it's like, it's Sin City and there's a lot of craziness that goes on, and you could gamble, and there's a lot of excess that I don't know if you had access to it or this or that, but just growing up in that environment, like, because you're one of those people. I never gamble, because you grew up in Vegas and you see so many people come to town and lose their money. You're like, no, that's not for me.
I don't gamble.
Because
I'm bad at math for one, so like I would lose a ton of money. But I've seen people like throw $500-$600 away in literally 30 seconds.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that's stupid.
It makes me nauseous.
Yeah,
a little bit.
I'm like, if you want to throw that money away, just give it to me.
Yeah.
Like what? But I think growing up in Las Vegas, I never realized it wasn't normal until I moved.
Yeah.
Because like we have slot machines in the grocery store. You know what I mean? So it's like you think that's just how it is everywhere. But I think the thing that was so weird about it is that you're going to bowling alleys or movie theaters and they're attached to a casino. And so like when I was growing up, that's how it was. And you had to have a legal guardian or somebody 18 or older to take you to those places after like 8 o'clock. And it's like, who wants to be with their parents.
The parents have to stay with minors at the bowling alley or whatever because it's attached to a casino.
Yeah, it was not.
They have to be like by your side, or they can be in the casino while you're bowling.
I think they would be like in the vicinity, but like it wasn't like. Yeah. You're just like, I want to do whatever I want.
Yeah, of course you want some freedom.
So when you're like 14, 15, that's not cool. So then you just kind of like, we would go to parks a lot.
Yeah.
Like, just parks. And like, I grew up in this very suburban type area, like 20 minutes away from the Strip.
Yeah.
And so it had a lot of parks, and like, so we would just hang out in the parks and get drunk because it was like, what else do we do? Like, we would just find somebody to buy us booze.
Yeah.
And so I think you just grow up a little quicker there. Like, by the time I was 17, like, I was already having birthday parties with, like, bottle service and stuff like that.
Look at you.
I know, it's crazy, but it was just, like, I worked in the salon industry there, so a lot of my friends were older. And then we would just sneak into nightclubs all the time. But by the time I turned 21, I was so over it. Like, I was like, you can't pay me to go to a nightclub. I have not been to a nightclub probably in at least 9 years. Like, I will not.
Because it's just too crowded, too loud, the environment.
Yeah, I don't drink anymore.
Yeah.
So it's been 3 years since I've drank. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's so, like, in Las Vegas, now there's more stuff to do. Because now they have
more family-friendly stuff.
Yeah, they have a lot of sports coming there, and they have
the
a
Raiders.
lot of, like, they have a lot of residencies and stuff there now, so it's becoming, super, like, there's tons of stuff to do there, but I don't know, it's all heavily involved around drinking, and then
that's true,
so it's like, I feel like in LA it's kind of the opposite, where there's so much to do and you don't have to be drunk to do it all the time. I mean, you don't have to be drunk to do anything ever.
Just most things in LA you have to be drunk for.
No, that's so funny. I thoroughly enjoy not drinking though.
Yeah. Was it a personal choice, or
I just
if you don't mind me, we don't have to talk too much.
No, it's totally fine. I think I just realized, like, one, I like to be in control, hence the nail situation. Like, I don't like feeling like something else is overpowering me. And it just became like a point where, like, nothing great was happening when I was drinking. So like, why not just stop? And then when I stopped drinking, like, my relationships in my life got better. My attitude towards life got better. I, was more productive in my career, because, I mean, we all know the older you get, the worse hangovers are.
Yeah.
So it was like, I don't want to spend 2 days in bed contemplating life. I want to, like, be productive. And I feel like in LA, like, if you're pursuing this goal and this dream, it's like 2 days sometimes, like, opportunities slip away. So, like, I didn't want to.
You can't waste time.
No, you can't. And it also, like, people now will be like, oh my gosh, you look like you're 21. I'm like, it's because I stopped drinking.
There you go. Now, what I like to do is now heading into my mid 30s or later 30s, even heading there. But
you don't look like you're in your mid.
Is that start later? It's our start earlier and end earlier with the drinking. Really, anything. Just I don't know. I find myself like,
oh yeah, like this. I'm having this tea right now, and I'll be up to like 2 a.m. Like, caffeine later in the afternoon even is so, like, I'm so sensitive to. Yeah. But
anyway, so we got no drinking. What about the no college? You just knew you wanted to work. Is this what it sounds like? You were ready to work.
Like I said, I don't think I really knew how to get to this industry thing. Like, I didn't know what steps to take. I didn't know it was even possible to have a job. Like, I thought the only way to, like, make it was like, oh, I have to try out for American Idol, which is so not the case. But so I went to cosmetology school. I didn't want to go to college because I just did not like school. Like, I'd get super interested in things, and then I'd take a test and I'd fail it and be like, well, then I'm stupid. Like, I didn't feel confident in a lot of things.
This is somewhat controversial to some people, but college may not be for everyone. And I know it's definitely not. And I have very mixed feelings about the whole college system and it being for everyone. Agree. And I don't judge you for not
Yeah, well,
going
and I
or
also
anything like
don't
that.
want to be in loads of debt.
That's
so.
that's what was going in. That's what I was thinking about in my head when
Yeah,
I
like
was
I
saying
know
what I
people
said.
who went to college and they're working at Target. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it's like,
You could've
and
done
no
that without-
offense, I
Yeah.
love Target, but
You could
like,
work on there. You could have.
yeah, but it's like just because you go to college doesn't mean you're going to be successful by
No.
any means. So I don't know. I just knew deep down it was not for me. And in high school too, I was like, high school was miserable. Like the cattiness and the cliques and the bullying and stuff like that. So it's like the thought of doing that for another 4 years with like more people.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's absolutely not.
And you didn't need to go there to party. You had that.
Right.
You already were having
Exactly.
those experiences,
Right.
and you're
Right.
Vegased out and
Mhm.
clubbed out already.
Yeah.
At that point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you were going back and forth between Vegas and LA for this Disney show every week, and how where did we go with that? And
well,
do you have any other stories and notable experiences from there? And we could kind of move on.
Yeah,
from there.
from Wizards, it was just so fun. Like it was very surreal. I would like sit with Selena and eat lunch, and like it was right when her and Justin Bieber started dating, so I would just hear these really random stories and I'd be like, why is this like huge megastar like investing this story in me? But it was just so cool because you realize these are just regular people.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like my first taste of LA. And that job being my first job was probably the best thing I could have ever gotten because everybody was so nice and it was a family show. So it wasn't, like this crazy LA scene.
Right.
But yeah, so after working on that, I was just like, there's no other feeling I want to have than how I feel when I'm here. Just like so present and in the moment and just like truly enjoying everything. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to save up and I'm going to move out to California. And then I probably didn't book anything for like 2 years after that.
Yeah. Life will come at you fast.
Exactly. Well, it was just hard to like,
or not come fast enough.
Exactly. But it was hard to find a place to live, find a steady job. And like, I moved out to LA not knowing a single person.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, let's do it. Like, this is what I want. Let's go. And so a couple years went by where I was just kind of like, what am I doing out here? And I think now with how heightened social media has gotten, it's easier for people to move here because it's easier for people to basically be like, okay, what do I need to do when I move out here? Like I didn't know like about all the different casting websites and like I need a manager and like all this stuff. And like I didn't know what acting classes to take. There was one acting class I was referred to and it like mortified me. It was just very it just felt like the teacher was kind of like pimping girls out basically. And so I was just like, oh my gosh, is this even what I want to do? Like my first couple of years in LA, I was just like, ugh, I don't know. But then, one thing hits and you're like, okay, I can breathe. And then you start meeting the right people.
Right.
And then you just kind of go from there. But
yeah, bad acting teachers.
Oh gosh.
It's amazing. Like I've had this conversation with some other guests talking about how just a bad teacher can steer you, just change your feelings about a whole
100%
profession or craft or whatever it is.
Well, when you're young and impressionable and you're trying to do something that seems so much bigger than you, like of course you're going to listen to the first person who's giving you advice. But
they may not be supportive or encouraging or giving you what else you need to.
And you also have to look at like, where are they? You know what I mean? Like, are you a failed actor? Are you still acting? Are you nice? Are you shitty? Because you can't, it's not what advice you're getting, it's who you're getting it from.
Yeah,
that matters.
I think I found that, the best classes and the best teachers are the ones who are working or have worked or both, all of the above. I want to ask you something about when you first started in that Disney show, because you were saying like, they're all people and Selena, Gomez, she's she's a normal person, all that. But when you first walk in there the first day, are you like, holy shit? Like,
oh my God.
Are you trying to control yourself? What are the feelings that you're having? How long does it take to just, to tell yourself to, chill out?
Yeah. You know what?
Even if you're not acting outwardly like a freak on the inside.
I still don't think I've ever chilled out.
Right.
Like, I think
I get it.
I am always going to be excited about things that I love. And so, like, growing up, all I ever did was watch Disney Channel. So I thought I was going to be on there my whole life. And then I was. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, just the smell of a set, like a TV set, is like, if I could put that in a candle, I would.
Yeah.
It's so amazing. And just when the cameras start rolling, like, there's nothing, you can't explain it to anybody. You just feel like your soul on fire. And it was very surreal. And like to have these people like talking to me. And I think, you know, I would go to the movies with one of the guys who played the brothers, and like it was just like, whoa, what is life? Like,
Yeah.
it just happened very quickly because, like I said, I was only supposed to be an extra. So then it just became like, okay, well, we want to bring you back. Okay, well, we want to bring you back. And it wasn't like this full blown, like I had this huge character arc, but I was a part of an ensemble at one point. So it was super cool. And then it just started trickling out into my everyday life of like, this is what I want all the time.
Yeah,
But,
no, that's awesome. It's like
Mhm.
it's like you're not starstruck, but you're able to be a professional, but also on a deeper level and in sort of a even childlike enthusiasm, like
Right.
still appreciate
Yeah.
that, like, look where I am.
Right.
It's fucking
Exactly.
crazy.
I know. And that's the thing too, is like, it was just very, like, I would tell Selena, I'd be like, oh my God, I love this song of yours. And like, when I heard it, it was like, I think it was right when she started putting out music on Disney Channel. And it was like right when one of Taylor Swift's album came out. So we would like sit and like talk about Taylor Swift. So it just, I actually ran into her at the movies at ArcLight. And I happened to be sitting in her seat.
That's
And
funny.
I know. And so she was like, hey, I think you're in my spot. And I was like, Selena? And she was like, oh my God. So she remembered me. And it's been like 10
cool.
years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So she just,
cool.
she's so down to earth and she's very, very sweet. And then it's like, if you are real with those people, then they're going to remember you and appreciate that.
Right.
Because they don't get that a lot, you know?
Yeah, everyone's not real. Many people are not real.
Gosh, I know. That's.
But there's, like, I've been having this conversation. I just had this conversation with the previous guest, how, you know, there are authentic people in Los Angeles, some, and they will gravitate toward each other, and they do gravitate toward each other.
Well, they do. Like, when you asked me to do this podcast, I was so excited because I think a lot of people are craving, like, an authentic conversation with people. And that's why podcasts have gotten so big, is because people love listening to two people have a real intimate conversation. And so when you get the chance to have one, you're like, oh my gosh, yes, this is amazing.
No, I appreciate it for sure.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. Anyway, so you were struggling a little there for a couple of years after the Disney gig, and then things started to roll a little bit for you. What happened next?
I went into a good acting class where I met, like,
not a sleazy teacher?
Yeah, not a sleazy teacher. I went into an acting class where I met a lot of people and I started to become comfortable. And then I just had those people be like, no, this is what you need to, like, get an LA casting, get a actor's access, like the basics of things I hadn't been doing for so long. And just having a core group of friends really changed, like, my life out here, because it is so hard to meet people any other way, unless, like, I did some background work and you meet people on set, and I keep in touch with a few people, but mostly in acting classes is where I've really met all my friends. But yeah, it was pretty lean for a little bit, where there was just no, you know, I was auditioning for little things here and there, and I would get some, like, featured extra stuff, but I was just like, okay, when I need something. And then I saw a breakdown on LA Casting for Justin Timberlake fans. And then I was like, oh, that's mine.
Yeah.
Like, that's mine right there. So I don't know if you want to get into this story.
I think we're ready for it. It's time.
Okay. So I was literally like, the place I was living at, I had to move out, and then I didn't have a job. So I see this breakdown on LA Casting for real Justin Timberlake fans. And I was like, great, this is mine. I don't know what it's for, but I'm submitting. So I get the audition, and the audition happened to be on his birthday. And so this is kind of crazy.
And you knew this was his birthday because you're
because
it's on your Google Calendar.
I have been making him brownies for his birthday ever since I was like 7.
You still do?
I stopped after this audition.
This was not that long ago, though, or not.
It was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, you were an adult.
You were an adult. I'm still like a 12-year-old girl. I'm like a 12-year-old girl and also like an 80-year-old woman wrapped into one. Like,
so you're 50. I'm doing the math. Taking the mean there.
Yeah.
So you would bake. Where would you send them to?
No, I would just like sing "Happy Birthday" with my mom or something.
No, but where would you send the brownies to?
I would just eat them. Yeah.
Oh, you just made them to celebrate his birthday.
Yeah, but for the audition, it was on his birthday, so I brought it with me because they wanted real Justin Timberlake fans, and I told them like, this is as real as it gets. Yeah. Like, I've been doing this for years.
For better or worse, it's as real as it gets.
So I go to the audition, and they just like, I mean, the other people were like listing his Wikipedia page, basically.
Yeah.
And so they wanted real fans, and so I got a call back, and then they had me sing, and I think I sang Senorita, I want to say, because I started crying. Like, so...
you started crying while you were singing?
Well, I started crying while I was talking about him. I'm a crier. Yeah. Like, if I'm happy, I cry. If I'm sad, I cry. Yeah. If I'm angry, if I'm nervous, I'll start crying. Just because it's just always, like, on the surface. Yeah. Just sitting here.
You're a real actor.
Yeah.
Or human, or both.
Right, or both.
Yeah.
But so there's a lyric with those bright brown eyes and tears coming down. So I was like, and they told me to sing. I was like, perfect. I'm singing Senorita. But so I leave. I feel good about it. And I was literally, I go home and I got a phone call. And I was watching Friends with Benefits, which is his movie with Mila Kunis. And they called me and they were like, okay, well, we want to have you. You just booked a national Target commercial. And I was like, what? Like, I had no idea what it was for. They never said it was a Target commercial. They just wanted JT superfans. Right. So I was like, what? And like, mind you, like, I just asked my sister for money so I can just eat the day before. Like, I had nothing. I was like, I have to move. I need to go to Trader Joe's. Like, I have nothing right now.
Yeah, this is very LA.
Yeah, yeah. And so I was just like hysterically crying. But they were like, okay, well, Justin's not in the commercial. So it's just about the fans. So we'll see you. We'll send you the call sheet, blah, blah, blah. So the first day we get there, it was just like 15 hours of like trying on wardrobe. And they kept putting us in like different groups with each other. And they gave us Mirrors, the song Mirrors, before it had came out. And they were like, learn this song, get in these groups and sing with each other. So, okay. And then the next day, it was kind of the same thing. And then it was at Smashbox Studios. So you're in this big white room. So there's nothing, like no windows, no nothing. And you kind of feel trapped. And so everybody's just practicing singing this song. And they put us all in groups of 5. And then they put me and 4 other people, I think, to the side. And they were like, you guys stay here. You guys are going to go in one by one. And so I was like, oh my God, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
So they would take a group of 5 into another room and then they would never come back. So I was like, what is happening?
This is a magic trick?
Yeah, I have no idea. But so...
there could be another door somewhere. They go lead somewhere else.
Right. And so all the groups go and then all the individuals go but me. So I'm having like a panic attack of like, they don't want me in this commercial anymore. Yeah, like I knew this was too good to be true. Like where is everybody? And I was just like, I just remember pacing back and forth in this giant white room like a crazy person. And so they finally go, okay, Brittany, we're ready for you. And so I go in there and the camera is like literally an inch away from your face. And they're like, just sing. But they don't tell you there's like 200 people on the other side of the camera when you're doing these things.
You can't see. It's crew or it's audience?
It was crew and the directors and hair and makeup and like producers. And I saw Timbaland was there and I was like, what is he doing here? Like my heart was pounding.
Yeah.
And so they were like, okay, just look into the camera and sing. Okay. But I like kept messing up the words and I was like just laughing it off. They're like, it's okay. You're doing great. And then all of a sudden I hear like this like something got knocked over in like behind me. And my first thought was like, like you can hear a pin drop in this place. And I was like, who has the nerve to be like walking around like that? Because it was so quiet. So in the middle of me singing, I hear that. And then Justin Timberlake just comes right behind me. I was like, man, that sounds good. And
That's what he said?
I legit thought I saw a ghost.
Yeah.
Like
I saw the video. Yeah.
Yeah. And
you did like a double take, I think. Almost.
I walked away. I was scared.
Yeah.
I was like, who is this? And then when I realized it was him, my whole body just kind of went into this like shock mode where I was like, is this fucking real? Like
hologram Justin Timberlake.
Yeah. And his eyes are so blue that I was just like, oh my God. But he kind of like gave me this motion of like, come back over here. Like, don't walk away. And so he was like, well, say hello to America and say hello to Target. And then the director was like, Brittany, how do you feel right now? I was like, this is the first commercial I've ever done. And I just started bawling. And like, I look out and like everybody's crying because I was just so shocked and so happy.
Wow.
That literally like the hair and makeup people were like sitting there crying. And he was like, well, do you want to sing? And I was like, hell yeah. And then like, it was just me and Justin Timberlake like this close singing his song. And I just like halfway through singing, I was just like, what is happening to me right now? It felt so out of body just because like my whole life I had imagined that, you know? So
yeah, I was gonna ask you when, because you mentioned you were a crazy fan making brownies, all that. But when when did you first start to become like a bit? Were the NSYNC days? You've just always been a big fan.
Well, it was their Disney Channel concert because, like I said, I just grew up watching Disney Channel.
Yeah, he was NSYNC. He was pre-NSYNC.
Well, he was on Mickey Mouse Club. I think I was too young.
Yeah, to be for that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was born in '91, so I think
you would have.
Yeah, I would have.
You're born in the wrong time.
Well, I have the DVDs, so don't you sweat.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I think I watched the NSYNC special on Disney like repeatedly, and it was NSYNC and Britney and Christina, like the whole gang is what I grew up on, and just. Like if Justin Timberlake did anything, I wanted to do it too. Like it was so weird because it was like I never wanted to be just like Britney. I always wanted to be just like Justin.
Yeah.
Even though this is funny, I ran for like class president in 5th grade, and my slogan was Justin chose Britney, so you should too. I wish everybody could see your face right now.
The spelling is different, though.
Get this girl out of here.
The spelling is different.
That's true. No,
that's okay.
But if they spell my name like that at Starbucks, I don't get mad.
Yeah, and 5th grade, 5th graders don't know the difference anyway.
That's very true. I lost.
Yeah. Why? That's fucked up. Rigged.
Yeah, I know. Rigged. Yeah.
They were probably Christina Aguilera fans or something else.
Maybe. Or Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
But we don't talk about Backstreet Boys.
No, are you? Is that like your Beatles and Rolling Stones or whatever?
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's always going to be NSYNC. But yeah, so I was just obsessed with his music and with NSYNC. Growing up in Las Vegas, we went to a lot of concerts. Lots of NSYNC. My first was Spice Girls. That was my first concert ever. And then it was always NSYNC and like Wango Tango growing up. Like all the boy bands, basically. How
many NSYNC concerts did you go to?
I think I have all the ticket stubs still.
How many is that?
I'm gonna say I have 9 on.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a nice amount.
But then it became like when Justin went solo, it was like every time he came, I went and saw him. And when he did the 2020 experience, I think I saw that show 3 or 4 times.
So you've seen Justin Timberlake, if we're counting solo and NSYNC, probably 10 to 20 times more.
For sure. Yeah. 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 But like, it's just... I love concerts more than anything in the world.
Yeah.
Because it's like for 2.5 hours, you don't think about anything else.
Right.
You're just there and it's just fun. I mean, now with phones and everything, like I always wonder if like performers like that big get pissed because it's like they're doing this huge show and people are watching it through this tiny little lens on their phone.
I think they're just used to it. I don't know.
It would drive me nuts.
Yeah.
Like, it drives me nuts when I'm at a concert and I'm watching it through somebody's phone in front of me. Like, get off your... If I spend $1,000 for a ticket and I'm watching it through my phone, I'm an asshole.
Yeah, you don't need everyone to be on their phone. You just need...
Right.
I just need a few people to be on their phones.
Right.
That way
and then
I
you
can watch
send me the video.
Yeah, and I put it up. Make sure a few people do the recording. One person gets audio, one person get, people get video.
Right.
Just a few people get the good recording so I can watch it on YouTube. But every single person just getting 5-second clips every 2 seconds. I could live without that.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so I've always just dreamt of like singing along with him and meeting him, and like, because when you idolize somebody, you build them up so much in your head, right? And so when I met him and it was like exceeded all of my expectations, and I got to have the conversation with him of like, I told him after the camera stopped rolling, I was like, I almost moved home last week. And he was like, well, here you are. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. But
that's awesome.
It was just like so surreal. And I thought like, I just remember leaving set and I pulled over on Santa Monica Boulevard and I just started crying hysterically. I was just so happy. But then I couldn't tell anybody for like 6 months.
You didn't you couldn't tell anyone because the commercial wasn't out yet.
And I could not tell anybody, and I was dying inside, like having the best thing in my life ever happen to me, and I didn't even tell my mom.
I was just gonna say, mom knows,
no,
right?
I didn't even tell my mom, and my mom, I just remember like, so after the commercial, he invited us to his album release party, and
that's awesome.
Oh my God. And I got to bring my dad, which was so special because he spent lots of money on NSYNC tickets. So now for him, like, come out to LA and go to like, I forget the venue, but it was in Hollywood and it was a very tiny venue, and it was like a concert, and it was like, here's the stage, here's my hand, and there's Justin Timberlake just right there performing. And it was really special to like bring my dad to that, because I think my parents too were at a point where they're like, what is she doing in LA? Like, is something gonna hit,
Yeah.
But
where's your Oscar?
My
daughter?
Gosh. You would be. Side note, my parents are so supportive and so amazing, but they are so like that where it's like, I'll be like, oh, I saw Wanda Sykes at the grocery store today, and they're like, well, why didn't you ask her for a job? I'm like, that's not how Los Angeles works. No. I promise you.
Yeah.
Like, while she's looking at Fruity Pebbles, I'm not going to say, hey, can you hire me? Like, that's just not how this town is.
What cereal can she be looking at that will open up the job? There is no food.
Right. So I just remember my mom and I went shopping before the album release party, because I was like, I need to be wearing the best thing ever. This is going to be on the CW too. It was all televised. And I was at the mall when the commercial aired. And
shopping for the...
Yeah. So the commercial hadn't even aired yet, but they had invited us.
This was all kind of coinciding around the same time. The album release and the
commercial. So I just remember my mom looking at me and going, did you ever imagine you would be in a commercial with Justin Timberlake? And I looked at her and I was like, yeah, every day of my life. Like, whoa, what? Because I did. And I truly, truly think the reason I got that job is because, one, there was nobody more perfect for it. And I truly believed it into existence.
Yeah.
And I showed up for that dream every day, where I was like, every day I wanted something like that to happen, and I believed something like that would happen, so it did.
Yeah.
And it was definitely like the most special experience I've ever had. And I met like one of my best friends on that set. We still talk till this day. And yeah, it's nice also when you meet somebody who's, pursuing the same thing and also has this love for an idol.
Sure.
You have something to like engage with in each other.
Did you ever meet Justin Timberlake at any of the shows you went to, or have any interaction with him when you were younger? When
I was younger, I remember, so the very like end of their concert, they would sing Sailing. It's a cover song. And they would fly over the audience, and I was too small to reach Justin's hand.
Like on the harnesses or whatever?
Yeah, when people used to go over harnesses.
I think I remember seeing video of that.
Yeah. And I was too short to reach Justin's hand, and he just kind of gave me like this I'm sorry face.
Yeah.
And I was so just like devastated. But then when we went to the album release party, he grabbed my hand and he looked at my manicure because it had little suit and ties on it.
Oh my God, you are like the album art, right?
Yes. And he looked at my hand and was like, what? And like grabbed my hand again. I was like, I've spent like 15 years trying to get you to just grab my hand. And like,
you said that?
Well, no, that's just what I was feeling. Yeah. But then he like shook my dad's hand too. Yeah. And I was like, where is the ordained minister right now? like my dad's here. My friends are here. Yeah. We've got cameras. Let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it was really, really special. And it was a kind of nice little like bow to present to my parents of like, look, I'm here. Like things can happen. So let's just hold on to this and keep this momentum going. But so, yeah, I think that was what, that job led me to move out. I was living in Granada Hills at the time, and now I live in Sherman Oaks. So, and I always said, like, I want to live next to Ventura Boulevard. Like, I loved it over here. So, yeah, I kind of said to myself, this is what I want, and I'm going to get it. And I did it. So nice. I'm still here. So
where did we go from there as far as?
So after that, I started doing more music. It was one of those where I really loved acting, but the things I was more passionate about had music involved. And I was like, okay, I booked that job because my love for music.
Right.
So let's explore that. And then I started writing more songs and like getting the courage to record them. I think you always think like, okay, well, my family says I sound good. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
So you're out in the...
You're like, who's lying to me? But so I started writing and recording more music. And that kind of became what I focused on for a while. And then it would go in like a couple months. I would start doing music, and then I'd be like, I want to go into an acting class, and then I would start doing auditioning more and stuff like that. So I think it was just like
back and forth.
Yeah, it was a lot of
and probably a healthy way. You're kind of just so you don't get burned out, I guess, on either one. Right. What was the writing process like for when you write songs? What is your process?
It's always very different. There are times my song October that I wrote, which is probably one of my favorite songs that I've ever written, and my most favorite to perform, I wrote it in maybe like 5 minutes. You
just write the lyrics, you think of the melodies in your head, because you said you don't play guitar, you don't play piano, you don't play instruments. But so are you just writing poems, lyrics, or you're lyrics. Singing them?
I'm singing them.
So you come up with melodies.
Yeah. So I did that with October. And I literally just sat down. I was by myself, and I just like busted it right out. I was like, well, that's a song. And then I had a friend, Amanda Gunnels. She's a musician. I would sing it for her, and then she would just kind of play along with guitar and kind of find the groove. And we were just a really good team together. And then that's basically how I just started doing more. And there were a couple people who would send me tracks, and I would try and sit and write to them. But I think that's harder for me.
Interesting.
But I think maybe once I've heard a track and I've written to it and I've been like, that's great. But for the most part, I always have these songs in my head where I just have to kind of get them out. But yeah, so then I started performing at like coffee shops and stuff like that. And mostly I don't think I know how to write for my voice. I'm more comfortable singing other people's songs. And then like I am not afraid to like go for those songs. But when it comes to writing for myself, I kind of make myself a little smaller. So that's something I'm working on, because it's a confidence thing for sure. But it's hard. It's hard. So, but yeah, so then I got, deep into music, and then shortly, I would say about 3 or 4 years ago is when I really was like, okay, I'm going to dive into acting. And I did that, and I was auditioning a lot, and, going out for like some really cool things, some like, low budget things. I had one moment that was so devastating. I booked like my first guest star on this show, and it was like people from Twilight were in it, and people from like the soap opera that my mom watches, General Hospital. They were on it, and like it was just like some pretty cool names, and I was so excited. I booked it.
It was legit
yeah,
stuff.
It looked legit. And I like signed the papers. I was like 2 weeks out from filming. I was so excited. Like I signed the NDA, the whole nine. And the week of filming, I got a do not work notice from SAG. And it ended up just being like a huge crock of a show. And I was so sad because I was like, you know, you go through those spurts in Los Angeles where you're not booking anything and you're going and going and going. And then you finally kind of see a light at the end of the tunnel, and it got taken away. And then was kind of like not my first lesson, but one of the big, like, yeah, you can't get used to anything out here, you know?
Yeah, when they say do not work, that means something about the production is shady and not meeting union standards, whatever the case may be.
Exactly. And, you know, it was hard, too, because I got grandfathered into the union. So when I did Wizards, it was only AFTRA. And then years later, the unions merged to SAG-AFTRA, which was great for me because I didn't have to pay a shit ton of money. But I also missed out on, you know, those non-union jobs to build up my resume and like go out for, you know, have footage and everything like that. But, and then a couple years ago, maybe like 2.5 years ago, I booked like my first short film, and it was so much fun. It's called You Have Arrived. I think it's on Amazon Prime. And it was kind of like a suspense thriller. And which is funny because I'm the biggest baby. Like, I'm terrified of. My roommate watched True Blood last night, and I had horrific nightmares. and nothing even like horrible happens on True Blood. I mean, it gets gory, but like, I don't know. So I woke up at like 5 a.m, and I had to watch like 3 episodes of Friends to go back to sleep.
in this short film, were you a character who was fearful, someone who was playing someone who was afraid, or you were supposed to be you were supposed to be the brave?
I was kind of like the bitchy party girl of like, get out of here, this is not scary.
Yeah.
But funny enough, we filmed it at this like rundown motel.
Of course you did.
Yeah. And I think, oh God,
it was haunted.
It was just so far like towards Ventura County, I want to say.
Yeah.
And it was a night shoot. So it was like 3 a.m, and there's a scene where I walk up the stairs, and I was like, you guys are tripping if you think I'm walking up the stairs and sitting up there by myself. So I made somebody like sit up there with me, because once I walk up the stairs, they still had like 2 pages of dialogue left. And I was like, I'm not sitting up there by myself. I'm going to die. Like, but I'm such a baby. Like, so yeah.
Don't fuck with ghosts.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. Nope. If I feel like a spirit, I'm like, I just like quietly say, please leave. Like, yeah. Like, I don't know.
I just say, be nice to me. Yeah. You can stay, but you know,
just chill.
We'll get, like a old cat or something like that. Just.
Yeah. So that, like, doing that film, it was just so fun. And I truly was just like, okay, this is where I want to stay right now, is with acting. I kind of dropped music a little bit because I really did enjoy filming and becoming a character and just kind of being in all of that. Yeah. And like, it was it went through the circuit in like short films. And so when you see yourself on an AMC screen in Burbank, you're just like, holy shit. Like, this is cool. And like, people are paying to come see this. Like, this is what the goal is. And so, but oddly enough, not oddly, I'm afraid of everything. So I really want to do comedy. So I started taking a comedy class with Michael D. Cohen. And I did like a workshop of his at the SAG building. And going back to how I always felt stupid in high school, it was the first time I was in a class where I was like, I'm smart here. Like, I understand what he's saying, and I understand what he's trying to convey to people. I understand his direction.
Because you're not new to performing.
No.
Even if you're new to, or newer to some of the comedy aspects.
Yeah.
Of it.
So I just kind of, I think I finally found it takes a lot to find your way in LA, I guess.
I noticed this.
Yeah.
Finding this out.
Yeah. So it's like, it's all trial and error. Somebody can tell you, okay, do this, do this, do this. But like, you are going to find your own groove of things, and you're going to find new people along the way. And sometimes you go, maybe that's not worth it. That's not what I want to do.
Right.
Like for me, it became, I love music so much. I love singing so much. I didn't want it to become something that stressed me out. So I kind of put it on the back burner and I focused on acting. Not that acting stresses me out, but it is a lot to constantly like rejection and the audition process and just finding good representation and stuff like that. It's a lot. And
sure,
I didn't like, you can't go home and just act, you know what I mean? Or like perform monologues in your mirror, but I would lock myself in my room and sing. And that would be like my escape from those days.
From the act, you would sing as an escape from the acting.
If it got too overwhelming.
Yeah.
But you can't do the opposite.
No.
On your own, at least. You know what I mean?
You have to do monologues.
Right. Like, oh, the doorbell. Oh, get that. Like,
I had a stressful day singing, so now I have to
yeah, exactly.
act it out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But, you know, I've slowly wanted to, like, I've been writing here and there, but acting right now is just on the forefront for me. But like I said, I went to this class with Michael, and it was a comedy masterclass, and that's my dream, is to be on a sitcom. Like, I watch Friends religiously. Like, it's the holy grail to me. Or Cheers, just 90s sitcoms in general.
I'm right there with you.
They're the best. Well, you're from Boston, aren't you?
I'm from Long Island, from New York.
Oh.
I thought you were going to say you're from the 90s, aren't you?
Oh, no!
No, I am from the 90s.
Well, I'm from the 90s,
a little
too.
Bit of the 80s,
91. Too. But yeah, so it's just, that is where I feel comfortable, and like, I feel like I'm doing something that I'm good at finally. Like, I've always felt like I'm good at singing, and that's great.
Yeah.
And I enjoy doing it. But when I'm doing like a comedic scene or in classes and stuff, and people are like, that was smart. Like, you're smart. Being smart in comedy to me sometimes is better than being funny. Because you look at, you know, Phoebe on Friends, for example.
Yeah.
You have to be so smart to play that character. Like, she's not just like cracking jokes all day long and is a funny person. I'm sure she's great. I would love to meet her.
You have to be smart about, I think, the human condition and comedic timing and
exactly, and
lots of other things. Than just
and just
and then compared to like academics or something like that, different kind of smart.
Right.
Emotional intelligence.
Exactly.
There you go.
So I think, you know, that's just been what I've been focusing on more and more. And, you know, I love it. I just did UCB, which was like the best thing I could have ever done for myself. I was always so scared of doing it. Like, because it's improv.
You took improv there.
And it's so fun though. I was mortified of going because it's so on the spot. And like people would be like, oh, you're so witty. And I'm like, yeah, but improv is so different. You like, it's just a beast in itself. But the thing about UCB, the only thing I wish is that I wish I would have taken it sooner.
Yeah.
Because it just kind of forces you to be present and in the moment and listening, and then like check in with yourself a lot. And like, you can't care what anybody thinks about you when you're on that stage.
That's a healthy healthy thing to strive towards, I think, to some degree, especially for a performer.
I mean, performance-wise, yes. I think in real life, we care what some people think.
Right.
I was listening to Brene Brown because she's great, but that's in her special. She says, like, you can care what some people think. You just can't care what everybody thinks. Oh, yeah. You know?
100%.
But so, like, even just performing on the stage at UCB, it was like the lights went out and I was like, wait, it's over? Like, I wanted to do more. Like, I think that rush of performing is just what I'll always chase. And, like, being on a stage, or whether it's singing or acting or improv or on set, like, it's truly when I feel the most like myself.
Yeah.
Because you're just there. You can't think of anything else. You can have nerves, but you channel that into something greater than yourself.
You're in the moment.
Yeah. Where like on the daily life, I'm so just like anxious and
what's that?
I get very anxious throughout the day.
Yeah.
Like, so when I'm in those moments of like performing or something, I'm so chill.
They're therapeutic. They're meditations in some regard, I suppose.
Yeah. Because like even on my way here, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous."
There's no need to be.
I know there's no need at all.
Not for this.
Like once it gets started, you're totally fine.
Yeah,
but like
the anticipation
of things is what is just like oof.
Yeah.
Like even before I sing the national anthem, I'm mortified every time, and I'm so scared I'm gonna get the words mixed up,
right? Because
they sound so similar. Like, oh, I don't even want to try. I can't even think of it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No, it's okay.
Terrible.
No, you can.
But
I'll say, can you see by the dawn's early light?
Well, it's gleaming and streaming. Like gleaming's first, streaming second.
Yeah.
But I'd always
alphabetical order.
That's a good way to think of it.
You're welcome.
I would always get so nervous. I was like, they're gonna know. Everybody's gonna know.
Nah, no one knows.
I know. So that was like
one old man knows.
I was just like panicking all the time before, but then once I start, I'm like, oh my god, I'm fine. Why was I even freaking out about this?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's interesting how each like thing makes me more nervous than the other. Like acting and singing, it's a different type of anxiety before, but then once you just start, it's like perfect.
How is it different? What is a different anxiety?
Well, I remember I did a play recently. Maybe like 2 years ago. And I would get a horrible migraine like every night before I went on. I'd get so anxious that like it was like something was going to go wrong. I was going to forget my words or
you don't even know what you don't. It's not.
Anxiety is worrying about something and putting yourself through the same situation twice, basically. So it's like so I'm thinking all these bad things are going to happen. And then if it does happen, then I just went through that twice. So like, what did I do that to myself for? You know? But with singing, it was more so, it's different with singing because the size of the crowd gets me, but only if it's smaller. So if like 5 people were in a room right now and they told me to sing, I'd be like, absolutely not. I can't do it. And if there's like 5,000, cool, no problem.
Interesting.
Because I don't have to see those people. You know what I mean? Like, I can't see their faces, really. I probably won't run into them at the grocery store. But, like, when you're in, like, an intimate setting, like, I performed at Republic of Pie in North Hollywood. And that was probably the most nervous I've been in a long time. Because it's a lot of people you see on a day-to-day who live around here. And if you suck, then they're going to be like, oh, that's that girl. You know? Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, no, everybody's just thinking about themselves out here. So
I came to that conclusion too. No one cares.
No one gives a shit about you. Enough to be like, oh, that's that girl. They're only thinking about their own shit for sure.
Even if they're thinking about you, it's literally for a half a second as they're ordering their drink or leaving or whatever the case may be. Yeah. No, I got you. Yeah. So why don't we play a song?
Yeah,
you can
do it. So this is the song I wrote called October.
Nights like this, where the weather is so cold and the sky is clear, bring me back to the days when you were here. I knew it all along that I'd be writing this song. I knew holding on to a love like this was rare. And I remember the drawer in your room where I'd leave my jewelry. And I remember how it was when the lights were off and the way you moved me. And October seems so bitter, gearing up for another lonely winter. The smell of the air and the candles burning reminds me there's no turning back. I know that we're over. Do you think of me when you hold her? I don't know if I can survive another October. This whole month I've been hoping that you'd call like you did last year. It's been such a long, hard fall, but this time it's not the same. I used to know my place. It's like you don't even know my name. And I remember the smell of your mom's cooking and how you loved me when no one else was looking.
was awesome. Thank you for sharing that with me. That was cool. Great voice.
Thank you.
And like you were just telling me, is you have kind of a little bit of a country vibe even.
Yeah, I think, I grew up also listening to a lot of Miranda Lambert, like her first couple albums. And then when I was writing that song, I was listening to a lot of Taylor Swift's Red album. And I always wanted to do like more pop music or like kind of more R&B. But every time I write, it truly comes out like a country song, like, which is not bad because country's great. But it's always hard for me to write and have it become like the super catchy pop song. It just always ends up being country.
I think you got a nice pop country vibe going with that for
that's
sure.
Nice of you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time and thank you for stopping by the studio. Tell me about acting and singing and Justin Timberlake and bad acting teachers and making brownies, the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Why don't you tell everyone where they can find you, follow you, social media, the whole thing, what you're working on, whatever you want. The floor is yours.
So you can find me on social media at Brittany_Rizzo on Instagram, and you can like my Facebook page, Brittany Rizzo.
Brittana. A-N-Y.
A-N-Y. Brittany Rizzo.
Yeah.
Rizzo, like Greece. And you have arrived. Should be on Amazon Prime. It's a short suspense thriller that's super fun. And right now I'm just kind of, getting those auditions and hoping something strikes.
Right.
Yeah. So
living the dream, trying to make things happen like all of us out here.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, good luck
Thank
and
you.
thanks
Thank
again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you got it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, this
and
was
we'll talk
awesome.
soon.
All right.
So there you have it. My conversation with Brittany Rizzo. That was fun. I've heard of pumpkin vanilla scented candles, but I've never heard of any candle that smells like the set of a TV studio. But maybe Glade can work on this. For real, though, I again thank Brittany for her time. And you know where to find me, of course, peoplewelovepodcast.com. That's peoplewelovepodcast.com. I think that's about all I got for today, though. More great people and more great stuff coming soon. Talk soon. So be nice to each other out there. Peace.